Alright guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm here to talk about the Z Flip 6 that just came out. I'm an iPhone user. I dabble in Android every once in a while. I go back, but this is actually the longest time I've been on the iPhone. I think it's been like 2 to 3 years that I've been on the iPhone and I haven't switched to Android. Back in the day, maybe like 5, 6 years ago, I used to switch like every 6 months. 6 months I'd be on Android, 6 months I'd be on the iPhone, and I kind of rotate through that. But for the last 2 to 3 years, I've been holding strong on the iPhone, and most of that is due to the ecosystem. I think a lot of people have kind of, said that multiple times to you guys, that that's kind of how these things work. I have an iPad in the other room. I have an Apple Vision Pro sitting right next to me. I used to have an Apple Watch. I used to have or not used to, I have a MacBook sitting back there. And of course, having everything integrated is nice. I mean, it's not the hugest deal in the world nowadays. You can usually work around things that you need to, like transferring files and stuff like that. But it is nice to be able to accept phone calls on no matter what device it is, and the phone call rings on your iPad, your Mac, and everything else. And, that ecosystem is awesome. And FaceTime and iMessage that a lot of people make a big deal about. A lot of those things are what keep people on iPhone, and that kind of held true for me for the past 2 to 3 years. But I used to have the Galaxy Fold 2. I didn't used to have. I had it for like a month before I had to return it, and I didn't like it. I thought I was going to like the foldable experience. I had the Fold 2 when it first came out from Samsung, and the front screen on it was just too small. And I found myself usually using the front screen because it was naturally in my hand. And when you folded it open and it became a huge tablet type thing, I really wasn't opening that up to, read Instagram or check tweets or text message people back. I always found myself using the big screen to basically watch YouTube videos and stuff like that, or play games, but then texting on the front screen and, looking through Twitter on the front screen, and the screen was just too small. And that led me to not like it because that was the screen I was using the most. It just wasn't wide enough for me or big enough for me for my usual use cases. So in theory, it was a good idea, but I've decided to let it cook for a few generations. But a phone I never tried up until now is the Flip series. So it's the foldable phone that's sitting, oh, almost dropped it, sitting right here in front of me that folds open. And kind of looks like this. And this is the first time that I've used it. And we're going to talk about a lot of things in this review and my impressions of this thing. This is not going to be a technical spec. I think a lot of people on YouTube have already done that already, where it goes through all the specs of this thing and stuff like that. This is going to be a perspective from somebody who actually uses and has been using an iPhone, what caused me to switch and what kind of keeps me on here, and what I think about this as an iPhone user for a long time. So let's go ahead and get into the video. All right, guys, so the first thing we're going to talk about here, we're going to start to talk about all the things that makes a Z Flip cool. So everything that the Z Flip kind of design lends itself to, what makes the feature stand out that other phones simply can't do because of this design. So of course, we're going to start off with the screen here in front of me. This is the outer screen here, as you can see. And as you can see, I customized it with my YouTube logo there. But what's really cool about this is that on this wallpaper here, and unfortunately I can't really show you right now because it's not going to do it while it's not, with the weather. But basically when it starts raining, it will actually rain on your cover screen based on your location. And it will also... there's a text alert for you. And then it will also, thunderstorm and lightning and stuff like that. And when it's snowing, it will snow on your cover screen. So it's a live, weather on any wallpaper you choose. So any wallpaper you create, any photo you choose, it will do that live in the background using Galaxy AI, which I thought was really cool as one of the standout things on here that I really like. If you swipe to the left here, you'll see notifications. So you can see the notification that just came in. If you swipe down, you get to see your status bar and everything with your quick toggles. And then if you swipe to the right, you get to see all the different widgets here that they let you do, like a calculator, for example, that you can kind of go through. You can see a voice recorder. You can see your steps and stuff like that as you go through here, which is really cool. You got your news, your sleep that you can take a look at and stuff like that. And, having all your apps on here through Good Launcher, which we'll talk about later, that lets you have every app on here that you can use on the cover screen, which is really cool. So every app can be used. So I really like the cover screen to be able to, I actually end up using it a lot more than I thought I would, because on this one, it is big, and it's not as big as obviously the other phones that I was talking about in the intro there, but because of the nature of this thing, it actually lends you to, text on here and look through social media feeds and stuff like that, because it's easy to hold and it works that way, and it's big enough to be able to see that stuff until you actually, of course, flip it over and then you start looking at the inside of the phone here, and then you can start using it in the big screen factor. And the reason that this one works more than, say, my other phone here that I was talking about, like the Galaxy Fold, is because when you open it up, this is a regular size phone, so I can, use everything quick on the front. And then on the when I'm doing anything that I want to spend time on, like looking through TikTok feeds and stuff, I can go ahead and open up and use the phone in a regular form factor. Where if I was using a Fold, for example, that I didn't like before, it would be two screens kind of split in half. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. The Fold has a lot of benefits on its own, like the multitasking and stuff. But I just like this form factor much better because it gives me the full experience, almost the full experience of a phone here when it's fully open. But then still lends itself to let me use it with the screen in front, which is super cool to be able to answer text messages and stuff like that, and has the ability to do these cool wallpapers. Speaking of wallpapers and stuff, you can go ahead and scroll through and you can see all of these different ones that you can customize through. You can add like different things, you can add pictures and stuff like that. I like these that actually are kind of live and stuff like that you can actually touch, and you can see that they actually jump around and stuff like that. So it just adds some fun and cool factor to the phone. It doesn't mean that it's, that it's anything crazy, but it just makes the phone more fun to use. You could just hold it down, and that's how you add more widgets and stuff like that, or changing, the style of things that you have here in front of you. We'll go back to that one later, but these are super cool that, you can customize everything on here if you want to, and what you want to be shown on here, which is, again, super cool that you can kind of do this and customize any of this stuff. So really, really like the interface that's on here and how it all works, and all the customizable widgets. I just wish they, hopefully they keep adding more widgets as time goes on. The next thing I want to talk about here is the foldable screen. So when you open this up here, obviously it folds open, and then you have a full-size screen here. It is almost as big. It's not as wide as an iPhone would be, for example, that I came from. It's a little bit short, so I do wish it came out just a little bit more over here, so it would be more of a full-size phone, but it is perfectly fine. It's not something that's deteriorating me from the phone, but it's definitely noticeable that it's not as wide as an iPhone. But it is a little bit wider going this way, so it's a little bit longer. It goes a little bit longer than the iPhone does, or other most phones, at its 6.7-inch screen. So something else to keep in mind as well. And the crease that a lot of people talk about here, it only shows up on different angles and stuff. I'm not even sure if it's coming across on the camera here, but only on certain angles will you actually see this crease, which is actually a super cool thing. That this has improved a lot from what I heard. It wasn't like this until this one, that they improved it a lot. It's not even something that I noticed too much. Even, obviously you can feel it if I hover right over it like this, and I can feel if there's something there. But most of the time you're just kind of swiping and, going up and down and scrolling through. You don't really hit that middle section very often, so it's very easy to not feel it. And again, it's not noticeable at all. Like when I have different applications and stuff open, like you can see here, there is no crease that I can see when I'm surfing the web or answering messages and stuff like that, which is obviously really nice and super cool that you can kind of, do that with no issues. And that was something that I definitely noticed on the Galaxy Fold 2 the last time I was on these phones, is that the crease was definitely noticeable in everything you do. And now it kind of just depends on the lighting and stuff on how you actually use it. So really good improvements on the fold crease. Another thing that I like on here that this is not like this phone specific, but something that Samsung does, is that the top circle there for the camera is only a little small circle as opposed to the big island thing that the iPhone has. So it takes up less screen real estate at the top, which is obviously, really nice that that's how that works and stuff like that. Again, that's something that all Samsung phones do, but it's still really nice to see. And speaking of the cameras and stuff, another thing that makes this phone fun to use to take pictures is that when you flip this over, since you have a cover screen, and these are the main cameras right here, and the Galaxy the Galaxy Flip 6 now has the same cameras here in the front for the main sensor as the S24 does, which is awesome, and it has a 50 megapixel. So now when you open this up and you hit the camera here, you can see as my recording here that now you guys can see me and it's recording me right here, and I can go ahead and either swipe to the left to take a portrait. I can go ahead and swipe down here, and you have all your options sitting on top if you want to change it for video. But what makes this awesome is not only can you see yourself while you're recording, which is obviously super cool and makes it easy to record videos and stuff, because now you're actually in frame and you're centered and everything, but it also makes it really easy if you prop this up. So I can go ahead and prop it up and I could be hands-free, and now I'm talking to you guys and I can just leave it there recording myself when I want to do a quick video, and I don't need to like prop it up on anything, which is obviously super awesome, which makes, you know, taking camera videos and stuff like that really cool. Another thing you could do with the fold open here, as you can see, is that if it's taking what's in front of it, you can also turn on the front cover, and now you can see on the front cover that it shows you exactly what the front is looking at. So imagine you taking a picture of someone while you're holding it, and now they can see themselves on the back, so they know what they look like, if they're centered in the camera, if the camera's actually going to capture them and stuff like that, which is super cool to be able to do that here, and you know, really easily. And you can also hit this heart here, I guess, if they don't want to be seen, and have that show up. And it has a really cool 3D effect. I don't know how they're doing it, but it really does look like a 3D heart. But anyway, that is also super cool. It makes the camera much more fun to use. And another fun feature as well is when you're recording, if I bend the phone in half and I go to video, it kind of makes it look like a little camcorder like back in the day. So it has your options here on the side where you can kind of, you know, mess with the options and stuff like that, like the zoom level and stuff, as you can see. But it makes it look like a camcorder, which I think is super cool. Again, a fun feature that just makes the phone fun and interesting to use, and takes advantage of the fact that this is a foldable phone. I don't have a way to show you right now, but just remember that that means that if you're taking a FaceTime call or something, and you're just kind of sitting over here, you can obviously prop it up and do a FaceTime call without having to worry about holding your phone. If you're sitting at your desk or something like that and you have to answer a phone call on FaceTime, if someone sends you a FaceTime thing, or whatever kind of video calling that you're doing. So that's also pretty neat as well. One of the other things that's awesome about this, again, to the foldable nature, is that certain apps take advantage of it really well. For example, if I open up YouTube here and I go ahead and go to, let's say, one of my own videos here that I have, let's just open one of these. It doesn't really matter right now which one we do. If I go ahead and lower the volume here for a second, we go ahead and skip that. What you can do is, of course, you can look at it full screen like this, or of course you can look at it this way and have this like this, and then you're watching the video, you know, kind of like that. But what's really cool is if you fold it in half, again, propping it up, now you see what happens at the bottom, right? Now you're looking through the comment section or scrolling through other things, and you could read the comments as you're watching a video. Now, of course, the screen's not that big when you're doing something like this, but still, it's big enough when you're watching, depending on what kind of content you're watching. You're obviously not going to watch a movie like this, but sometimes for a YouTube video, a podcast that you're watching, this is a perfectly fine size to have it propped up while you're sitting at your desk doing other work and scrolling through comments at the same time. Again, lending itself to the nature of having a foldable phone. One of the other things we got to talk about with this phone that I really like is these cases that Samsung makes, and they do this with their Galaxy line in general. The flip case has these type of cases here. It's a clear case that you put on. It has these NFC plastic things that go on it, and this is the new one that they just came out with. This is called the flip case here. And what's really cool, for example, is if I were to close this in half, not only does it has LEDs that actually light up with the NFC thing that's in there, which makes it really cool. This is their first light up one that they've made. They made another one as well. But that front cover that I told you before, if I go ahead and open it up here and change what I had, you guys kind of saw me scroll through it before. But it also usually has a cover that goes with it that matches the actual back. So you can see here, this one's really cool because it kind of lets it move around and stuff like that. And again, you could touch it and have it bounce around, kind of like what I showed you with the other one there. But it's cool because it lets you customize it. It has the LED that makes it stand out. But they make a bunch of these cases, and third parties make them too. So I already know, I'm excited. You guys know I'm a huge Disney fan out here. They make a Mickey one that kind of goes in the back here, and then it has like Mickey Mouse, and it usually has animations like this one does that kind of make it scroll by and stuff like that, which is really cool. It's just a cool way to customize it. And again, the Galaxy S24 and other ones have had this too, their own version of it. Obviously on this one, it's a two-piece case because the front of it plastic goes here with the NFC piece here, and then this one just covers the screen here. The big S24, for example, is just a giant case on the back that has the giant NFC, and then it changes your wallpaper and stuff like that. So it's a little bit different than this one, where that on the S24 it changes your whole wallpaper and lock screen when you open it, where this one changes the actual cover screen here, which is, in my opinion, really cool. Again, it gives you a lot of customizability, and there's some really cool cases out there. Samsung came out with the NFL one, so you can put the NFL, like if you're a San Francisco fan like me, 49ers, you can go ahead and put it on here, and then when you look at it on here, it always shows the animation of the 49ers, and it has a really cool animation. So that's another one I'm looking to get. But it just, again, exciting to use the phone. It makes it really fun to have because you can do all these customization things that Samsung is offering. And that kind of goes into the last thing about this phone that I wanted to touch base on that makes it stand out, is that it's just fun to use for all the reasons that I've been talking about so far in this video. It's fun to be able to flip it over and you know, go around and use all the different features that I just talked about. It's fun to be able to flip it down. It's fun to be able to have this case here. It's fun to customize the front of your screen with all these different widgets and use them. It's just a fun phone to use, and that does make a factor when you're using a phone for the first time and something you haven't used before, bringing the fun back to a phone, because the iPhone has been stagnant for so long. I mean, I love the iPhone for its ecosystem and its apps and stuff like that, don't get me wrong, but every time my family ends up asking me, hey, what about the iPhone and what's coming out new this year? And they always ask me, what's the phone going to have? For the last few years, it's always hardware, at least. It's always like, yeah, better camera, faster a little bit. Nothing that you're going to notice on a day-to-day, especially my family and friends, and that's pretty much it. There's not anything exciting happening over there hardware-wise because they kind of refined it. Samsung is kind of taking their chances. Of course, the Folds have been around for a while, but they're refining it and making it better each year, and it's just a more exciting product because Samsung adds a lot of quirky features to it every year. So it's not just the fact that the phone folds, but they have these cases here that make it fun to use. They have the front screen that you can customize with these widgets. They have the emojis that they have that you can customize your caller ID screen and stuff like that, which is, again, just quirky stuff that the phone lets you do. Something that the iPhone usually doesn't let you do. So, again, fun to use is definitely a big thing. And then, of course, there's and now that we're done with the category of what makes this phone special and stand out, we got to talk about Android in general. You know, I haven't had Android in a while, and it's fun to go back to and kind of use Android and go back to that again. And using features that, you know, Android is known for. All the customization features that you have. You guys have heard that texting sound. It's really easy to download an app and have thousands of options to be able to customize your text sounds, different sounds for different people that call you and stuff like that, customizing your card when people call you and stuff like that. The customization on here is just insane. You can customize your phone and every single icon on here to match your wallpaper, customize the lock screen. I mean, there's a ton of customization. That's not new to Android, but Samsung does have an app called Good Lock that I'm going to show you here for a minute. So this is the Samsung Good Lock app, and this is the app that actually you have to download for sure to basically get all the apps to work on the cover screen, because unfortunately when you first get the phone, all the apps don't work on the cover screen, only the few selected Samsung ones, but then you download Good Lock and every single app will show up there and you can use it all on the cover screen. But then it just gives you a ton of customization. Like this theme park one literally lets you customize every single theme or every single icon on your phone to match different things. You can customize the keys on your keyboard. You can put photos behind it. You can customize each key to be an individual theme and stuff like that. There is so much you can do with this app. I can't cover it without it having its own dedicated video, but I wanted to let you guys know it exists. I mean, the lock screen you can customize like crazy, and you can, you know, manipulate different icons to be in certain areas and stuff like that, depending on where you want them. So it makes the phone not only just use the standard Android customization stuff, but then really elevates it to the next level here, as you can see. All of the different applications that let you do all of these different things to really make your phone your own. And I mean, just look at all these customizations for the clock and stuff. I mean, I have to dive into this still because there is so much to do on this phone as far as customization with just this app alone. This app is fantastic. It's a must download as soon as you get your phone. You can even add like lighting effects around your phone when things happen and stuff like that. It's just super cool stuff. And notifications that pop up all over the place with the little icons and stuff. Again, customization on this is kind of insane, and this app takes it even further. Don't miss this one. I mean, even the Android customization, just to show you a little bit here, you can have video on your lock screen. So here you go. This is a video that I downloaded. This is a Pikachu Pokemon game. As you were playing, it makes it seem like you're playing a Game Boy and stuff. So this is my lock screen, which again is super cool and not something that you expect on other phones and stuff like that. So that's really cool. You can have video lock screens like that. And you know that customizable island that a lot of people like on the top that iPhone has? Again, because Android is fully customizable and people are always making new things and stuff. If I put Apple Music on here, you can see right at the top here, now that I started playing that song, you can see that an island kind of thing pops up. That is a third-party app that I downloaded. And now I have, if I feel like I missed something like this from the iPhone, I can go ahead and touch it. And what does that look like to you? It looks like the design of, you know, the island that people talk about on the iPhone, and you can still have it on Android and get a similar like experience thanks to third-party apps. And this is the kind of thing that Android kind of lends itself to. The Apple ecosystem doesn't really let you do this customization to your phone like this. They want it set in a certain way based on what they give you. And on the iPhone, you can make it do whatever you want. Even if iPhone does something, more than likely a third-party developer can make it and do it for you. And then there's also the true multitasking, of course, that you can do on these phones. If I open up the sidebar that Samsung is known for, you can go ahead and open things. Like, for example, I can go ahead and have the browser on the bottom and then YouTube on the top and kind of do those two things at the same time. I can go ahead and prop this up and have it like this, YouTube on the bottom, that on the bottom. And again, you can open up any different kind of app like that and kind of do whatever you want with the app that's on here. So one of the also awesome things that Android phones have is circle to search. One of the coolest things on here, all you got to do is hold this button down here, and it searches exactly what's on your screen. So I can go ahead and circle anything or tap anywhere. Let's say I go ahead and circle this picture here, and boom, it's going to search and tell me exactly what that is. And you can see, boom, it's the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. And you could do that for anything. Imagine circling shoes that you see a picture of and you want to know where to buy them or what kind of shoes they are. And the crazy thing is how well this actually works. You can literally circle anything and it will tell you exactly what it is or where to find it and where to buy it. It's just crazy how well it works. And circle to search is a really, really powerful feature that they have on Android, and it is super fun to use, and it impresses me every time I circle something and it's like, yep, it got it, and yeah, it knew exactly what I was looking for. And that kind of lends itself to a lot of the Galaxy AI features that, Galaxy has on these phones. Obviously, iPhone is getting their own suite of things as well, so this isn't going to be specific to here, but you got call assist that they talk about on here where they do real-time translation. So if you're on the phone and you're talking to someone who's talking in Spanish and you speak English, you could do real-time translation. You can do the interpreter stuff where you kind of fold the phone in half and it kind of takes advantage of the fold again, where you're seeing the person on the other side is going to see the words that you're talking in their language while they're talking back to you when you see that. So you can have conversations if you go to a different country, and you can still talk to someone else if you're lost and stuff like that, which I think is super helpful. They have a bunch of different things in the camera and stuff. We're not going to go into detail about the AI stuff on this phone because, again, that's not specifically to this phone, but on all Galaxy devices. One of the things that I like from photos is that you can remove things really easily. You can just circle an object to kind of remove them. If you want to delete something, you can sketch the image, draw anything you want. If I put a crown on the top of my head, it's probably going to be terrible because my drawing is terrible, but you can add images to it is a little bit limited because it doesn't really let you touch people's faces because people are going to do weird things. So but look, there you go. I have a crown on my head, and look how good that actually turned out too. It really looks like it's on my head. So just imagine the creativity you can do on there to kind of generate image and stuff. So again, a lot of AI stuff that you can kind of mess with on this phone. All right, guys, so here are my final thoughts on the Galaxy Z Flip after all those impressions and stuff that I just gave you on the phone. So overall, I'm really, really happy with this phone. It's so much fun to use, like I talked about. It's very different than the iPhone. It gives me something new. Phones have been stagnant for so long of being the same thing, of just a giant slab of screen. Foldables, obviously, are now in a much better place than the last time I tried it, with the crease being a lot less visible. It being more defined, being on the 6th generation and stuff like that, which is obviously cool. And what's awesome is that, technically I still get to experience the the iOS experience that I think I'm missing out on my phone, because I still have an iPad over there. And the iPad is one of the main things that I definitely can't live without, because I use that to edit the videos for you guys on this channel. I use LumaFusion on there to edit my videos, and that's what I use the iPad for. And I don't really care about not having an iPhone to sync the videos, like, through that stuff, through iCloud and stuff, because I actually don't take my videos anymore with my iPhone. I used to, but now using a DJI camera and stuff like that, it doesn't matter what I use for my phone, because the videos are going to be on the DJI camera, and I just transfer them to whatever I'm using, whether it be the iPad or the phone. So now I just transfer them to the iPad, and it's no difference to what phone I actually have. So one of those things that I used to do doesn't really matter anymore about me not having an iPhone, because I'm usually using my DJI camera for everything that I use for recording on this channel at this point in 4K or non-4K. And of course, I still have my Apple Vision Pro that also gives me the iOS experience as well. So I kind of feel like I have the Android experience on my phone, and then I could still have the iOS experience on the iPad and still experience all of the Apple AI stuff that's coming later this year, and I'm not going to miss out, because all that stuff is going to be on the iPad, and everything else that I can experience on the Vision Pro and the Mac and stuff like that. So I'm not losing out on the iOS experience. As long as I have an iPad, I feel like I'm basically there. I just don't have a phone number connected to it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend and lie to you guys that I may never switch to the iPhone again, because I still like that ecosystem and I like to switch around a lot, as I talked to you guys about. But this is the first time that I'm staring at one of these Android phones and a Galaxy phone where I'm like, I might actually keep getting their foldables and you know, looking forward to their next generation. Even though the 6 just came out, what's the 7 going to have? What am I looking forward to? What do I actually want to see improved on here? Well, I can tell you guys right now a few of the improvements that I want to see on the next generation. I would want the cover screen to go to the edge, just like we've seen on the Razr. That'd be awesome. So it goes and gives you a bigger screen to take up the full front of the screen. I'd like to see that. I'd like the front screen to be a little bit wider if possible this way, so it feels a little bit more like the iPhone size when it comes to the horizontal length of it, as a personal preference. I obviously would like to see the dust and waterproof to keep improving. It did improve to, you know, dust resistance now and stuff like that, so it makes this a little bit more durable, but I'd like to see it go, you know, keep pushing that envelope and get it more dust resistance and get it fully waterproof instead of water resistant, so I don't have to worry about getting this phone wet when I'm at the beach and stuff. I would also like to see once the screen gets changed on the interior, you guys saw the YouTube video didn't take up the full screen, so if there's a way to fix that and make the screen, the YouTube videos take, you know, they would have to change the resolution, and I would like to see a higher resolution on this phone as well, because right now I think it's 1080p technically, and I would like to see it take up, you know, if they higher the resolution and they make the screen a little bit bigger, hopefully that will give us a wider area for a YouTube video. As you guys saw when I was looking at it, it kind of just takes up the middle center of it. You could, of course, zoom in, but you're going to lose a lot of, you know, the content of the video when you zoom in like that. So, and the last thing I'll say is faster wireless charging on here, because it's only 25 watts and it takes like an hour and 45 minutes to charge the phone from 0 to 100, which is insane nowadays for our technology. It shouldn't take that long. I should be able to go from like 0 to 30 and at least, you know, less than 30 minutes, and that definitely doesn't happen even when using a 25-watt charger. So hopefully that's something else that improves. But overall, I'm really happy with this. And again, I can't wait to see their future generations of this. I can't wait to see what improvements they add to the 7. And that's not something I could have said, you know, when I was on Android phone last time. So it makes me excited to have this phone. Will I ever switch to the iPhone again? Maybe, if they do something cool with their phones, or I get, like, you know, something happens with this phone, I get tired of it, or, you know, we'll see how the months go on. But again, this is the most excited I've been for an Android phone and a Galaxy phone. And it actually feels fun to use for the very first time, unlike my iPhone, which has felt kind of stagnant. So I feel like I'm going to be holding on to the Android side now for a while, just like I kind of held on to the iPhone side for a while. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions about this phone, if you guys are thinking about getting it, leave those down below. Let me know your favorite flip cases. Don't forget, you can use these cards on the back. Even if you have it on the 5, it works on the 6. So let me know your favorites, where to buy them, because they're hard to find. So if you guys have favorites that you know where to link them from eBay or other third-party sites, let me know, because I'm definitely looking for more. But let me know your thoughts about the phone if you guys have one or are planning to purchase one. And thank you guys for watching. Till next time.